I finally got my credentials. All right, let me hit record. Yeah, if you guys ever want this video, let me know. And also, I do have an archive on YouTube. That's part of why I'm hoping to stream to YouTube now. Is I think I can just like auto archive. So this will be up as well for you if you want it in the future. Yeah, I mean we've talked about this as content. This will be this could make a cool blog post, huh?
That'd be fun.
Even just doing you know a line of sketches and being like, hey, we did this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is still, so I'm in Figma. This was meant to be a question as well, which was, do you have a Figma account that you would rather I do the community link from? If that makes sense, because I'm gonna post this in the Twitch URL and it can either be in my sketch file here or it can be in yours. I'm happy with either. So if you have one, make a file and I'll just move over there.
I think we do, but I don't know if, I honestly think it's maybe just easier to move forward with yours. Renee, what do you think? I think it's fine as is.
Yeah, let's just use yours.
This is also an easy choice to make later. I don't think it's going to be difficult to like copy paste whatever's happening, if anything, in Figma.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick to Figma. Or I'm sorry. I'm going to stick to Illustrator probably as much as I can, just because I'm a lot more fluid here yet. But if anyone winds up jumping in, then I'm definitely going to switch over. So we'll just, like you said, play it by ear. I have to make this shape real quick because it's made out of a bunch of bananas. And then, yeah, I don't want to bring dirty files over to Figma. So yeah, I'm still translating I guess the highlights of the last round over to somewhere that we can look at them all in one place and like kind of catch up, see what we want to do. And then I have a bit of new work as well from last time that we can also check out based on the same stuff. I mean, it's like it's all the stuff that we liked, getting more attention. Is this everything? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I think these were it. We can go look at, one moment. Let me pull up our presentation so that we can make sure that we've got all the right stuff open.
And then just a question, how long are we thinking about streaming for?
Well, honestly, the natural rhythm of these things seems to be about 3 hours.
Oh shit.
But it's highly modular. So you can come and go. We can just cut it at whenever. I think, how are you feeling about it? Like, what do you want to do? Same question for both of you. Same question to... The other thing is like, here's the thing, like I'm used to doing these as, cause like 3 hours also works. Like you can do even 3 of those in a day, like a really hard day. I think I did 1 of those, but usually we can do 2. It wasn't uncommon for a while to do a Tuesday and a Thursday, a 3-hour unit of streaming on Tuesday and a two units on a Thursday. So we would do 6 hours on Thursday and we would just power through the entire brand in a week that way. So not to say we're doing 6 hours, and certainly not to say we have to do 3 hours, but if you like have a meeting in an hour and you're like, oh, I need to be gone for half an hour, I could potentially just keep going on my own if we're like at a good clip or something, and you guys can come back. We can also just cut it. So I guess we didn't discuss this as well as we should have, my bad, and also just laying out some optionality for you here as you think about it.
Yeah, Pranay, do you have any other? Pranay is the one with the meetings as heck. So, Pranay, what do you have today?
Oh shit, 3 hours.
Generally, like yeah, the hour that we have is all I have. I gotta go at the hour. So like in half an hour I gotta stop.
Well, damn. That's okay. What about you, Anna?
I personally was planning on stopping at the hour, but I can stay for maybe another 30 or so. So like do an hour. If that's sounds possible.
Yeah, I asked Empty and we pushed our experience weekly to tomorrow, so I have half an hour more as well.
Okay, so maybe we
haven't-
do an hour.
Let's do it.
An hour starting from now?
Yeah, an hour starting from now.
Okay.
Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, man, we're gonna make it work. That's the whole
Cool.
That's the whole jam. We're gonna make whatever comes to us part of the process.
Also, I think a little slight pro tip is that if you go on the Zoom, you can hide non-video participants.
Say it again. If
So
I
you
go to
can hide.
Zoom, I can go to where?
If you scroll over the Zoom dropdown, there should be like a 3 button.
Hide.
Should be like a option to hide non-video participants.
I see a bunch of hides, but I don't see non-video.
Let me see where mine is.
Record.
It's when I go into the Zoom. Are you in the Zoom app?
I don't know. This is.
It's fine.
fine. Let's,
Probably doesn't
this
matter.
is this. We're using up. We're using up critical time here.
Yeah. You're right.
All right, hold on. Let me get a screenshot so we can tweet. And then you guys, if we only got an hour, we got to cram it all in. Let's try and get some comments. Let's try and get. We got to go through a whole cycle of death and rebirth in an hour. We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Let me do this again. All right, Anna, you ready? 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Oh, I think I still caught you bad. All right, hold on. Sorry. All right, I shouldn't laugh so much. Here we go. Oh, Pranay turned off his video. All right. And I should do this as a quote tweet. And then Anna, Pranay, you guys should start looking at. I should just start giving some guidance too, so that we can start talking. Which is, I had pulled up last week's presentation. This is the PDF in exploded view, and if there was something that you remember that you don't see being highlighted here as like categorically, like as like a category of thought here, then shout it out, I suppose. And because I think this is a summary of the things that caught our eye. Some a little more so than others maybe, but I think this was all of them. And then I tried to leave behind the stuff that didn't make it. So let me leave it at that for a second. Would you rather look at these or here? Let me. I'll pull up last week's just so that you can stare at it for a second, make sure nothing was left behind, and then I'm gonna finish this tweet, and then you can tell me what you think. This music is very relaxing. Pranay, what's your Twitter handle if I can at you?
It's just my first name, last name, concatenated. I'll send it in the Zoom chat.
I don't know what's your last name?
Mohan.
Oh, I should just look at it. I think you just recently. Yeah, hook me up in the biz. There you are. Getting there. You guys seeing anything?
It's looking good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good enough. Okay, tweeted. Okay. So that was last week, and then so I summarized it with these 5. These 5 are also now in Figma, which is cool. Just in case anyone wants to futz, I will share this URL. Oops, I can edit. There we go. So this is now in the Streamlabs. Oh, what's up, Anna? Basic Flaw, shout out. What's going on? Sorry I didn't see this. Didn't realize anyone was already here. Here's the Figma. Okay, cool. All right, so now that you're seeing these again, and that now that you've had not quite a week to dwell on these, like what has stuck out in your mind more so, if anything? I suppose there's the question of, do you want to dive into any of these as something that's like really stuck with you? And also, were you hoping to maybe, like you had some ideas that aren't at all represented that you've seen somewhere, and then it was like, hey, let's just like try and draw this. Either of those would be cool things to work on at the moment. But depending on what you say, I might have already done a little bit of work too.
You want to go?
I think I am really the ones I want to dig deeper into personally are the Netscape Horizon and the I don't know what the name of the category is, but the runes, the kind of more runes one. Yeah, it feels like the runes is kind
I think that's the
of
category.
the dark horse bet, but could be something really cool.
Now we know. Yeah, I think you just named the category.
Yeah, the category is now RuneScape.
Yeah, I think the runes is like, I'm curious to see if that can get to a place where it feels like us, you know what I mean? Because I think it's really aligned with some of our teammates as individuals, and I'm curious if it could get to a place where it feels like us as as the brand or the company. And then the Netscape Horizon, I feel like feels already more, I guess like already like us. So, kind of like a one that needs a lot more exploration, but could be really cool, versus one that we could like polish more.
Yeah, word. Thank you.
Yeah, on my side, the one that kind of continued to resonate with me was the Earth symbol with the Z-axis. The more I thought about that, the more I kind of started like playing with the idea of that Z-axis kind of coming out of the screen. And I know we had nested it within the rune category, or the kind of the symbolic words, but I like the word ecological that you used last time, Ben.
We were calling it land wisdom at the time, which was, there's a lot of ecology implied there, which you picked up on and ran with in a way that was pretty inspiring, actually, for your the company long-term vision.
What I liked about this is somebody else reached out to me, and they had seen your tweet, and they said that this reminded them of the Wheel of Dharma, which I thought was a very interesting reference. And I also see other things like a peace sign potentially, and even like the Vitruvian Man to some degree. So there's a lot that people can cast on this, because it is such a primitive in terms of a symbol. This is the one that I liked a lot, and I like the Netscape Horizon as well. But I am the one thing I would say I am cognizant of is a lot of DeFi protocols and things in crypto and Web3 try to like harken back to Web1, but
Mm,
have like this glitchy element that
mm.
almost runs a little counter to our more thoughtful or methodical design. And so that's the one place where I would want to see, can we be more intentional, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you don't. So you might be interested in. It's not so much that you have beef with Web One necessarily, as much as you don't. You're not necessarily into nostalgia, and also you're definitely not into like the glitchy OS 7, or even like terminal vibe. Like you wouldn't.
Right.
You wouldn't. It's not like this isn't like a parody. We're not doing like a.
Right.
We're not doing something old. We're doing something entirely fit to the moment.
Exactly. Like the one that
Mhm.
I think of is like Based Protocol. I don't know if y'all remember that one, but it
Mm.
was like it was a B in the form of an Internet Explorer E, and it was just like a lot of like very glitchy complexity, like edgelord type stuff, and that feels kind of antithetical to what I have in mind for Nomad.
Did you get feedback from the team at all? Like, was there? I know you just said that you got like a response to a tweet, but was there the fact? I mean, I guess part of my intention with this question is I'm zeroing in on you've both between we had 5, now we have 2, and we kind of only have 1 because you overlap on a single one. So if, for instance, we wanted to be hyper efficient, we'd be like, oh, let's just work on Rune. I don't think we necessarily want to do that, but I'm also curious before I do that kind of social math. I'm curious, are there more voices to account for, even like community as a whole? Was there anything to that effect that we should think about, or can we kind of go on the present authority?
Renee, I haven't spoken to anyone else about what we have here.
Yeah, I think part of it is maybe we take on a little bit more breadth rather than just choosing one. Maybe we choose 1 to 3 and then start double clicking on those a bit more. And that way, because what we're trying to avoid is like scope creep of having too many people kind of chiming in all at once and kind of spreading ourselves thin. So we want to narrow it down to some degree and then present something once it's a bit more finalized and people can comment on form and color. Until then, I think you have, the voices in this room are probably able to be a bit more opinionated.
And the comments, shout out.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm with you. Okay, cool. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's very much your culture, your call on this kind of thing, which is why I ask. Like, in another, I could imagine this conversation just being like, yeah, we can just sort of make all decisions, and if that means we've already picked one, then that's great. But if it means if the intention here is more like we're setting up a few, so it sounds like what we're doing is we're choosing a few and we're setting up a few little mini presentations that you can show your people, and then get like kind of a final weigh in. Does that sound right?
Yep. Sounds right to me.
Okay, cool. So then if we are picking 2 or 3, we've definitely got 2, and we can jump into the work I started doing already, and we can also jump into typography. We had talked last time about how we need to start looking at type and start to talk about what feels good, and maybe teaches us a little bit about the characters, the character of the characters, and just the letter forms and such. Just looking at different typefaces can be very instructional. We could do that. We can look at new work, and we can talk about what we just did, which is reduced it down to 2. Do we want to pick a third, or do we want to, do we want to pick a third? Do we want to imagine a third, or do we want to stick to the 2? You know what I mean?
If I were nominating a third, I would do the interlocking triangles, actually, which is actually not here. so that's my bad.
Is it these guys?
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
So that was my third as well, actually.
nice.
Nice.
I feel like for the Netscape one too, or Horizon, like I felt more strongly about the just the Horizon. Where was she? Over here. Yeah, that. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, I obfuscated her.
Yeah.
This one, right?
Yeah. I felt more strongly about that one personally than even the more Netscape one.
I struggle with this one. We talked about it a little bit, where this is, to some degree, this is like, it's just a color study. I shouldn't say just.
Yeah.
But formally, it's just this. You know, it's like, oh.
Right.
So if like we're ever in a situation where the color doesn't render well, or we want to try some stuff, it'll be if we came all the way around and we're like, man, we really just love this and we don't even want to change it and this is perfect, it would just wind up being a really interesting case study. It's like, I don't know, how do we?
Yeah.
We would just wind up probably just, I don't know, really zeroing in on this specifically, or I could probably come up with a few complementary color pairs where we would have a few different versions of this. We could turn this into like a horizontal horizon. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Honestly, I love the simplicity of the form. Like, I think I'm very attracted. Have I shown you the t-shirts Barbara and I made?
I don't know.
It's simple. It's literally vertical type that just says Nomad, and it's black t-shirts, and we actually did black type on black t-shirts. Yeah, basically like that.
Sick.
Black on black.
Sick.
And I think, I don't know, I think I'm attracted to kind of, simplicity and form in that way. I think another thing that I love, probably my favorite.
Sorry about that. Apparently the bill wasn't paid. Oh no, don't do that. Derp de derp. We're getting there. God, Zoom is a pile of buttons. Invite. Copy link. Okay. Go back to John this real quick. Sorry, everyone. Especially sorry. I apologize to Nomad. How rude. And
Hello?
yeah, where are you though? Oh, I don't have video. Now I have video. Okay, cool.
Here I am.
Here I am. I am so sorry. Hopefully Pranay finds his way back.
Anyway, this might be slightly controversial amongst, like, I think maybe even Pranay was the person who was pushing back, but when I was saying how much I wanted to work with you, I was bringing up your site, and like, I'm obsessed with the Zorb. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm obsessed with the Zorb. And I think it's so genius and incredible how you can like craft the Zorb in any colorway, and how they do that all the time. Like, they play with it so much. And yeah, I don't know if that's like right for our brand, and not necessarily suggesting we do something exactly like that, but I just think that's fucking dope. So I think that might be part of why I'm attracted to this, like, incredibly simple form with like room to play. But yeah.
This company no longer exists. This is, I think, my first crypto job. But this was fun. There were going for different forms of the same shape. Different than you're talking about, but also the same in as much as, yeah, you could have this primitive and then just build it into different shapes. I mean, this has nomad jewelry at some point, like obsidian or some shit. Like, yeah, I can see it. And then, but I think what you're saying is we could potentially, no, I mean, this direction is great. The degree to which you have strong opinions and like a vision is like, I love it. And I think I know what you're saying. Like the equivalent would be this. I mean, basically this looks like, something like like Starship coming in over a planet or a sun
Mm-hmm.
or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very sci-fi right off the bat, and it looks like you're coming in over like a very large sphere. Like I think we've been trained to see this as like a horizon.
Yeah.
The angle is pretty extreme. Like it almost doesn't quite it almost tilts completely into non-legibility, I would say maybe, but even that I'm not sure. Even if it was like cut vertically, it could even still read that way now that I think about it. And yeah, we could, like the orb is really made of, the Zora orb is really only made of, let's say, 4 colors, 2 of which are sort of in a complementary relationship with each other. I mean, all 3 are, but like 2 of them are sort of the same color, and then the other 2 are on like sort of polar opposites, or just sort of an interesting interplay between the 2, which would, in this case, I think it would really be more like, it would be the same kind of system. It would be probably a 2 to 2, like 2 horizon system, where it's like we would play with this half and that half as different spectrums that also play off each other. And yeah, you could get all, I would imagine, because even if we did, let's just try it. Let's just see what happens here. Where if we do like something really basic, where it's like,
Pranay is in the meeting waiting room, by the way.
might be. Where it's like Earth Day, and we're like, oh, we want like an Earth version.
Pranay is in the meeting.
He's here now.
I've arrived. Je suis arrivé.
Sorry about that, Pranay.
All good.
Actually, let me just steal this. Whoa, that's pretty sick, actually. We're playing with hyper minimal geometry and how much we could get out of just like color play in that geometry, in the same way that Zora's been able to get a lot out of basically a circle with a shaped color, which is essentially what this would be. We could even actually, let me do this real quick. This might be kind of cool, because right now this is actually a hard line between the 2. We could potentially do, there are no hard lines in the orb, for instance. We could have the horizon be built out of the same gradient, which would give it a softer edge. So what I had been doing over here on the left was just like, even with an entirely different color scheme, but with a similar approach, does this kind of still feel like a brand or a thing, you know? And I would say it kind of does, which is pretty cool. So, Pranay, how do you feel about this direction?
Just the gradient in general?
No, like, I mean, yes, the gradient in general, but really owning it as, like, when we look at all of these options, it's like, they're already hyper simple. Each of these could probably be a finished mark in some ways. And I think, like, this one only works in a way where you keep it as minimal as it is, and you don't try and turn it, like, we don't try and start adding details to it and such. Like, I started to explore, stuff like this or whatever, and I think what Anna's making the case for is that we can own the square and this kind of double spacecraft horizon entry thing, where it's like you're a nomad, you're entering a new space, you have total freedom, you could land on any geography, any continent, whatever. so we have
Yeah,
that, we have
Pranay,
that as
like
like a foundational concept, and then on top of that, we can like build an array of different colors and such. Um, Zora has great typography. This was built on top. I tried to get Cap in here actually. Cap started this for them, and then this built into the orb. And then I don't know who did this. I'm guessing it's Rudnick. Did like blew it out a little bit further into this sick ass thing that they have now. But so they have like a square with. I'm sorry, they have an orb that was built into the word mark in the same way that we would have. I haven't really done it yet. Is this what I want? Yeah, this is what I want. And I interrupted you as well, sorry.
Oh yeah, well I was just gonna like back up what you were saying, which is like the idea is simple form color study and endless iterations of color play, basically. So like, oh yeah, but it's quite opinionated, and I feel like I may have I feel like Pranay, I think we've talked about the Zorb before, and I feel like you were less obsessed. I mean, I'm obsessed with the Zorb. The other thing is I don't want to be derivative, too derivative. Zora really owns the Zorb as a I don't know, it's just such their brand. So I wouldn't want to But anyway, I just think it's such a cool thing to be able to play with and like have these like sort of endless color studies be the brand, like that's crazy to me.
Yeah, I see the value of being simple so that it's almost like a primitive upon which you can use the color as the main kind of axes that you tweak and have different flavors of the same thing. Feels like a shell, and then you can use that color wherever appropriate to match with the use case. That's how I interpreted that. I struggle a lot with like the level of abstraction or how abstract this is, particularly because it may work for something like Zora, which is an NFT oriented project, but what we're building is a lot more, in my mind, fundamental primitives and infrastructure that we're not necessarily appealing to artists, but potentially like institutionals, developers, people are going to be moving significant fund flows. I want something that feels a little bit more concrete and less abstract. I also think that like Slingshot and other DeFi protocols have used gradients pretty heavily, and just what category are we associating with here? Because like I think we're neither, and we're not at the application level basically, and this feels more fitting for application level exploration. Like what resonates with me is like the more discrete like shapes. I like the even below down to the corner right, the little quadrant with the line through it that just automatically resonates with me a little bit more than gradients. But I am down to explore. That's just
totally
my feeling.
Definitely, I think we're a good pair because everything that on this live stream that you said, like glitches, gradients, terminal aesthetic, Windows 95, I'm into all that stuff. So Pranay and I have different feelings, but no, that's why I figured you might say about this, and I think it's totally valid that maybe it's not us, even though it is cool or attractive or fun.
Yeah, and I really, that's a good call out, and that's why I'm excited about doing this, because I think you have a really good pulse of like what vibes in this space. I think much more so than I do from a design and aesthetic standpoint, because you interface more with like communities like PartyDAO and NFT communities. I'm not as plugged in there, but for me, what Ben said last time around like TCP/IP as like a core primitive that back then maybe didn't need branding, but now even core protocol layers need branding in some image, right? And so if we are to go that route, like TCP/IP like has no brand, it's just text, it's a spec, you can't really like identify an image with it. Now that we are in this world where protocols and primitives, low-level primitives need a branded image, I would like that image to be like a motif that somebody could see and immediately like get it, right? Like I thought Bluetooth was an interesting call out that Julian made. That whenever you see that Bluetooth logo, you know exactly what it is. And we aspire to that same level of ubiquity as a Bluetooth or a TCP/IP even.
I like what you're doing, Ben.
I
I do too.
guess what I just did unintentionally was this particular Earth sign. I think of this as the Earth sign just because that's what it is in a lot of symbol systems. Probably astronomy has this for the Earth. Anyway, but we also like the one with the z-axis, and we just put the z-axis on it in the form of gradient, which I actually didn't mean to do, which is cool. I wonder if we can do that more so.
Could I see it with the circle touching the like being the same? Yeah.
Yeah, 1 second. That's what I'm thinking about. I made this in kind of a weird way, so I have to do it in a weird way. But we are getting there.
Ooh, whoa.
Kind of benzo.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, she's getting a little busy, but the vibes are there.
Well, one cool thing about this is that it shows that we can have a mark that at its baseline is highly primitive, but just through different ways of rendering it, we can make it futuristic or whatever if we want to.
Yeah.
Like these are the same thing.
This is cool because it almost looks like now it's a 4-pane window. Like I can see through a window to another dimension or something, which is that matches the metaphor of transport, right?
Window as nomad. Taking in the views, I guess, huh? Sitting on the train.
Looking at the horizon through the window.
Yeah, well, I guess that's kind of how I feel about this gradient mark, which it's sort of transport ship. It's like you're coming into dock, you know. It's like it's almost kind of Kubrick, in where it puts you in space. Yeah, so having that as what you're looking out onto could be dope. That makes sense. Yeah, this is cool. And then I don't think we get. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work on its own. But that's okay. There will be other times where we could do. What am I trying to do? Oh yeah, we could just do like the gradient won't have to be. I'm sorry, the stroke won't have to be like all colorful. We could also just do like ish. Possibly.
I wonder, should we play more with the runes, like with different symbols, like primitive symbols that we think are cool?
Should we play more with primitive symbols that are cool? Well, you don't have to talk me into it. I'll say that much. I'm trying to remember. The reason we're at that shape. Was from the axis. That's right. I was trying to remember, like, how did we get at that to begin with? And it's from this, XYZ axis. And then if you just put this in a circle or a square, you get this dope-ass rune. So that's why we only have one rune so far. Like, why we only have one. Well, I guess we have, like, the square version, we have the Z-axis version, and we have, like, the circle Earth version. And then I guess we have these boys, which are pretty basic yet, but they implied some stuff. I don't think I have any more of those hiding. I might, but I'd have to open another file, which I'm not going to do. But is this kind of what you have in mind, where you're just kind of exploring it as a language?
Yeah. yeah, doing some more shapes, some more runes.
Doing some more shapes. So I think if we wanted to do more shapes specifically, we might have to talk about like of what, like, are we going to make icons for parts of the interface? Are we doing like an abstraction of like, a TCP/IP style, back and forth between two different blockchains? And also, to what purpose? Are we trying to make are we trying to do a different type of logo that's also kind of rune vibey? Is that what you're thinking? Like maybe just try and draw like an N or something that's in a more primitive style, or like what's on your mind?
Yeah, that was where my brain was going. Was just like, okay, we have this world symbol that we've played on, and then we have this sort of coming out of that, this sort of language of, I mean, it looks like it looks like letters, right? Kind of looks like kind of witchy and like it's something written in an ancient textbook, like spells or something. And I was just wondering if there were other forms that we would want to play with there, or if we felt really like attached to or like if we felt really done on the what's it called?
The wheel.
The wheel with the x-axis or what was the axis?
I don't think we're done. I think we should go for breadth right now, and if we would regret not exploring the other rooms, I'm totally down. I like the wheel a lot, but yeah, I wanna go breadth first right now.
Cool.
Has anyone checked the comments?
I did. Barb's left a comment, but I'm not sure which one she was talking about actually.
Barbara, what's up? I like how it has the potential to be an N if the left and right sides are bolded. Yeah, I wonder which one she was talking about. I like how it has the potential to be yeah, well, she's probably talking about the land. She's probably talking about this one, which, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of that. I mean, this one has a good handful of meanings built into it, which is kind of sick. Yeah, it's got the N. I don't know if I showed you or if I explicitly pointed out. This one's kind of sick too because it works as an N both ways. I mean, like, it's pretty subtle, but both of them, like in most of the symbols that I've done so far, like we've talked about this, like you want to highlight the innate strengths of your name and of your mark and like see what kind of synchronicities there are between the two. So N is a very specific, like an N nomad. It's a very it leads off pretty strong. The N and the M in the middle are kind of the same shape. So we really have this like bar going across things that's sort of core to your name. We don't have to emphasize it, but it is there. And so in a lot of the...
I'm sorry to interrupt. I got excited.
No, it's cool.
You can see every letter here as well. So it's kind of in the theme of primitives, like letters are just primitives that evolve to map to a sound, right? And so we're getting that out of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the like granddaddy primitive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a circle with a couple bars. Like you can turn that into a lot, which is good and bad, right? We want to use a common primitive that is uniquely us, but then leverage the kind of level of I hate using the word optionality, but you know what I'm trying to say. How much it can map to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is sigil design is pretty cool, which I think is kind of what this is, where you take letters and you reduce them down to a form, and then, I mean, really, if we wanted to go full bore with it, we would like pack this full of intentionality and such, and really go like, Wiccan. I suspect that this, when we're talking about like trends and such, I suspect things are going to move in this direction, which might be kind of cool for you, where just from my angle, it seems as though if we can be if Nomad can be a brand that's sort of ahead of the curve a little bit in terms of like spirituality, land, relationship, going primitive, going slightly cultish, and then also being able to tie it into some sort of like optimistic sci-fi future, I think that's going to play well. And I don't think too many people are doing that in a way that, well, not only does it speak to longevity in a way that's, really, parallels you guys nicely, but also it would be good to stand out. And not just stand out, but stand out in a way that I think people are probably going to have to catch up to pretty soon. So...
Barb says...
Oh, yeah. Chinese, Japanese characters are rune-like. Mm-hmm. Yeah, pictograms, stacking them full of story, meaning. Sorry I missed your comment earlier, Barbara. I blame Anna.
Barb says it's fine. Just kidding, she didn't, but...
So, yeah. New rune development, like new... I think probably what I would do, at least, like, just kind of as like a first salvo, I suppose, is I would maybe start from like a baseline grid of something like this, and then, I don't know, try and figure out why we wanted to expand it in any direction. It's not so much that I guess Pranay, you kind of already addressed this, where we'd rather go broad than specific.
That grid, actually, if we go back to that, if you were to put a diagonal in the other direction as well, it would be the same as those digital clocks.
Right.
Where those are the only lights that it has, and adds and takes away to represent each of the numbers.
Very, like you think of each line segment as a different blockchain, even like as Simon says, type, like almost like each line kind of can like light up separately, and then Nomad as the entire grid lighting up together type thing.
It's super interesting to just think about, like, yeah, like I wonder what forms, like, that's the maximal set, and then you have to take away to like bring form out of it,
Yeah, and then right, so let me just see if nice. All right, so at least I've got a bunch of wedges, and then hold on, I'm just gonna cut this up. Maybe. Maybe let's talk, because we only have 14 minutes left before you two have to hop.
I can also stay on a little bit longer, I think. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we have some momentum, so I'm down to chill. But Pranay probably has to go.
No, this is fun. I have the next hour. I'm gonna be making bacon and eggs while I'm on the line.
Oh, I see how it is. You guys had to go when you thought it was gonna be boring or unproductive, but now that we're getting somewhere, it's like, oh, it's okay.
It was so good I cleared my calendar.
I've got time. Well, we'll see, because now because my internal clock, I had to set it, and I was like, we've only got, no, it's fine. Okay, well then.
Go ahead, sir.
No, it's cool. I was going into summary mode because that's 15 minutes is not much, and I wanted to start doing a little bit of like pulling together what we thought about over the course of this conversation. Why do I keep getting this? This is driving me bananas. It's the second time I've said bananas on this stream. It's kind of weird. For the next round, like, we haven't necessarily talked about, are we going to do the next round live again? Are we going to, do we want to start presenting things to the team before we do another live thing? We have the 3 picked out, which is cool, and we've made progress on 2 of them, which is cool. We didn't touch the rectangle with the separate, like the hidden FedEx guy, but that's fine. I can come back around on that and play around some yet. So I guess what I'm kind of saying is we could have a presentation for your people. Like we've already got we've almost got enough. I might argue to show like, hey, here's 3 good options. Here's like some details within each option. Is the team leaning somewhere? And that could be my next deliverable for you. Or it could be like, hey, let's do some more exploration live with everyone, and like the team can kind of come in last or something like that. I'm not sure. But we also don't necessarily have to make this decision at the moment because apparently all you needed was a sandwich, which is cool. This is...
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like last week we had you generated and then we evaluated together. Like you generated solo and then we talked about, analyzed, and evaluated. And then this week is a bit more, we're generating live together. I think both are really fun and valuable. I think if I had to design next week, I would say like my ideal would be if we had another session similar to our first, where it was more even informed by some of the conversation and like explorations we've done today, where we came into our next one with like more breadth or like more options narrowed down and refined on what has been resonating thus far, and then we were able to like ideally maybe narrow from there to like a singular one that we want to like refine, or like 1 or 2 that we want to see productionized. What do you think about that? Because I just feel like you're better at generating than me or the rest of us, but also it's been good for us to generate together because it undoubtedly gives you more context of where like some of our head is at.
Yeah, I don't. It's all up to sort of how you guys want to manage the situation, and what kind of confidence you have in the process, one way or another. Like, I think we got to some stuff that is really what could be very close to a decision for like a final mark, and we did it together. And I'm not sure if I don't know if I would have gotten here on my own, but I think this could point the way towards where we land finally. So whether or not you guys want me to go off on my own or do it together, that's your call, and they're both going to work. So and if you want to make sure that you're including the team in a way where you have a bunch of rounds, then that's cool too. Or not rounds necessarily, but like options. I get that. So yeah, I think what you're saying is let's do like a private round and then have that ready for either just internal between us, or we can maybe share it with the team depending on how it looks or how we're feeling at that time. Which sounds, if I got that right, that sounds good. And I finally got this thing. I finally got this thing cut up, so I can stop sounding frustrated, which is good.
Pranay, does that sound good to you? One more private round,
Yeah.
And then pretty much be close to final.
That sounds good. I think one thing I would like though is I felt we got a lot of depth on the wheel plus gradient exploration. It would be great to do that for the arrows or the triangle ones as well, and kind of get to some level of depth, and then from there we can kind of narrow in on one.
Yeah, maybe. In as much as not all marks have depth, potentially. Like if, yeah, like we'll see. Depth to me, I guess maybe has more meaning than it has to. Like if explorations being different than depth.
I meant exploration.
Yeah,
I meant less symbolic depth and more around feeling like we did it justice.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with it. All right, and now I can start cutting these. Let's just see what happens when we do that. And now this will actually get a little bit fun. Hold on. Okay, so I don't know if these are gonna look rune like at all. Although once I make them black again, it'll work out better. Let's just go up here and then make them slightly small. And it's too bad you're not here in this file, and then you could just start deleting chunks out, and I bet you would find it. I bet you would find it highly satisfying.
I probably would. I probably certainly would.
These are not. Okay. I'm gonna try and be random here.
Leave that one. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I did a lot of heavy chopping. I didn't do too much refined. I wonder if I do one that's like, if I actually look at it for a second, if it would be any different. Let's do this and this and this and this. Okay, cool. And then let's turn these all one color.
This is kind of cool though. It's almost a fusion of the circuit grid in a way.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like a language happening.
Yo, it reminds me. Do y'all remember the Pokemon Unknown?
Say it again.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Absolutely.
This is Unknown.
You know what we're talking about?
No, you got to say it again.
There is this Pokemon called Unknown,
Oh.
and it was all like the same Pokemon, but they would have different permutations of the same like creature. How is it spelled? Unown.
Yeah. I've seen this. I love this. I think you're gonna get booted from Zoom at some point in like the next 5 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, wait. I'm obsessed. Can we zoom in on one of these?
Let me see if we can get a big one. Not too bad, not too bad. Oh, these are like fluffies for
Big boys.
Right. Well, so I think someone made these. These are like little. Why is the name escaping me? Like little stuffies.
Fan art? Or
No.
whatever?
They're little stuffed animals. They're little stuffies. Stuffies is the word that my kid calls them.
Oh.
Yeah, they're all fuzzy and shit.
Plushies.
Yeah, plushies. There you go.
Stuffies.
Stuffies.
They should be called Stuffies.
They're definitely called stuffies in my household. Yeah, plushies for sure. Yeah, we could get some. We could get. I wonder. So also there's. Yeah, I mean, no, there's definitely like runes and nomadic languages have overlap for sure. And then I guess this is interesting in as much as it's bringing like a mascot would be dope, especially if we, the thing about the rune land wisdom angle is that it is a bit threatening, especially for certain segments of the population will find it like heretical. Others will find it dope or like even warm. And one of the ways to counteract maybe some of, but like in general, it's always going to be like it's relatively harsh, and it certainly looks like something that could get carved out of stone or a tree or what have you. Even, I mean, we can do stuff like this to help with that, but we don't necessarily want to help with that. It's kind of innate to the form. But we could throw like a curveball at it as well to help, which would be like having something like a mascot on the side to do shit. I mean, that technique is something we'll be talking about in general, where it's like, how do we want to complement what's happening to make sure we're getting the right tone? Whether or
I
not
thought about this.
Slap some googly eyes on it.
right. Yeah.
Make some Stuffies. I thought about this a bit, and this is something I need to explore a bit more. I think the generally in crypto, the application side tends to have more mascots like animals and friendly creatures, whereas on the infrastructure side, I haven't seen that work out super well. Like I know Near had the Nearcat, but I think since they've faded that out because that warmth and kind of approachability almost makes people take the infrastructure less seriously.
Mm.
And so I thought about unknown because almost like uh, one of the things we discussed last time is people will take different routes between chains. And one of the core properties of Nomad is it maintains fungibility in the token bridge, regardless of what route they take. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
I really like the kind of circuit that you had to the left of the all black ones colored that represent maybe the different channels and different chains and what routes people can go. But the core value prop is that regardless of which route they take, there's a strong level of consistency enforced by the system. Where I landed up with that statement, I know I rambled a bit, is that I almost see the like fully connected graph, like with all the lines in there as the default, and
Mm-hmm.
then use animations or representations that like you, the user of the system, can go whatever routes you want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And make your own. You get to see your own slice of Nomad. Because if you're going from Ethereum to Moonbeam, maybe you'll just be traversing that red bar. Whereas if you're going from Moonbeam to Milkameda or Avalanche or something else, you'll use a different colored bar. But together, that composite whole, maybe all black or whatever, is the default logo.
Yeah. Uh, to me, this. I mean, of course, the middle one could also be something like a final logo, but I do like how the one on the left has the innate. It has the innate in letter N shape amplified in it. We get the Z axis, but then also I don't think this is a either or where it would be sick if the logo had built-in like preload loading GIF patterns where this very instantly becomes a fully like this is sort of like the Nomad default, like what we feel like this is our branded version, but really our whole system is when it comes online, it's all nodes
Yeah,
connecting to all nodes. So the logo just could very quickly transition into completely connected grid, and then
totally.
do all kinds of cool stuff with it.
And you could kind of animate the letters too. Like you could see like a
Mm.
bit going on the N first, and then the O, and then the M, the A, and the D. Right? You see the full letter
Mm-hmm,
space here,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
which I think is fascinating.
The A, I guess the A will have to be a right angle.
It would just be the the upside down U, right, with the bar, with the crossbar in the middle.
Upside down U? What the what?
Yeah, like just take the square,
Mm-hmm.
like the empty square, and then take the bottom crossbar and move it to the middle.
Oh, sure, right. That probably is the way to do it. Of course, of course. Good call, good call. So we're about to get booted. Do you want me to bring you back?
I'm down. I'd like to come back, honestly.
Snap.
What I'm missing right now is a stroll along the Champs Elysees. So you should know that I am having a good time.
Wow. I'll take that compliment. No. And then for a D, we'll do. I guess. Oh, there it went. Sorry, everybody. There you are. Here I am. No nomad. I guess it would go like this. Unless Pranay's gonna teach me how to do it again, which would be nice. If we had a, yeah, we're not doing that though.
All right, I'm back.
Hello, and thank you, and sorry again.
All good.
Oh, what's up? We got comments. Tracker's here. What is Nomad? Which reminds me of a Jungle Gym. Anna's here. Anna was talking to Tracker. Okay, nice work, Anna. Cool. What's up, Tracker? Good to see you here. Okay. Pranay, did you have any advice on how to do the D?
It depends on which one we use, whether we use the double diagonal bars or just one, right? Yeah, that's what you end up. This shape feels a little less. Doesn't hold as much space as the other ones. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's half the width.
Yeah. So that D makes more sense almost.
Yeah, I think if I understood you correctly, I think we have to do the double Z axis to get the M. Although I mean, we could do like a wonky, we could do like a chunky M. That could be fun. Which would be like.
So one thought I feel like I'm having that I would want to adjust, not just for the letters, but even for the earth sign with the axes on it. I think my biggest hesitation with the concept is that it somehow feels low fidelity in a way that I like am pondering. Does anybody else like, I don't know.
I think I get what you're saying, and maybe I'm casting my own interpretation on it, but basically it feels a little flat in a way, where a lot of the more Web3 stuff has more texture, more complexity, and this feels almost like it could belong to a Web2 startup even. I don't know if that's where you were going with it, but
or even, yeah, I guess like because it is such a primitive, because it is so, it's simple in the way that something needs to be so universal and so like deeply communicative. It both elicits that sort of almost sense of awe and respect of something kind of ancient and universal, and also, and I think maybe even the first reaction is it also elicits maybe a little bit of, is that it? You know what I mean?
yeah, I do. That's why I kind of like that window, because it adds that second layer to it that makes people say, okay, I've seen this before, and this reminds me of X-Men almost. I've seen it before, but this is a new take on this old thing that I have kind of impressions of already.
Yeah, Anna, I'm processing your feedback. One thing that I feel like happened there, though, is that you spoke in two chunks, and the second chunk kind of overwrote your first bit a little bit, where you were it seemed like you were kind of concerned about it being primitive, and then you kind of came around to what primitive also implies potentially about like elegance and longevity.
I think it's conflicting feelings. I think it's conflicting feelings because it really resonates. I think the rune concept and like the ancientness, the simplicity, there's something that feels powerful, like, and powerful and some like a force to be reckoned with about it. and then the other side of that, the conflicting feeling is feeling like it's, I don't know, like not enough somehow. If that, I don't know. I'm also trying to sort of sort through the thought, which is why I'm thinking out loud a little bit.
Well, we do have going for us that I think we've figured out at least the beginnings of how we can do like highly rendered versions of this, which is nice. I wouldn't have, I'm not sure. So far, up until then, my imagination had really only gone as far as what I'm currently about to show, which is like kind of a dimensional version of the same thing, which is cool. Like, this will look cool. But I think that window thing that we had happen sort of accidentally is points us even further into a direction which will be like Web3-ish, Web3 native within the confines of our own voice potentially, I guess, which is cool. Not just voice necessarily, but like opinion.
This is tight, honestly. This like,
yeah, this kind of thing is hard to argue with. Generally, like when you see like an embossed metal simplistic form thing, it's like, yes. I think your mind just your mind just kind of set up
directly this literally directly so quickly and simply like addresses, I think, the feeling that I had about the other one, which is, like this is like the level of, I guess, the feeling of the level of fidelity of the rendering, I guess, is like elevated. I guess. But I guess a lot.
Well, I mean, you literally said like the level of rendering was a concern, and so jumping down this path kind of made sense. Where it's like, let's see,
absolutely,
how else can we render it in a way that's going to make it feel less two-dimensional? Because really, I mean, that's the nice thing about primitives is that because they're so primitive to some degree, they sort of force you to wonder what they're about. And it'll be cool in this case if the team winds up going this way. There will be a lot to share. Like, you'll be able to write some nice posts potentially about it, or just use it as a good.
Barbara had some cool comments. She said feels like traveling by foot rather than by spaceship, which is really interesting. I think, I'm not sure if she meant that. Barb's, you mean that in a positive way?
Right.
I mean, it's Nomad, right?
Thanks for checking the comments too, Anna.
You
own it. Doing this poor boy style. Did I miss something? Oh yeah, I did miss this. You should come back. Yeah, cool. Still not quite right, but close enough. If this was built better, we could do it in like cool colors too. Actually, let's just see what happens. How far are we away from a well-built file here? Heel. Right, heel.
Me when I'm coding. How far are we away from a well-built thing?
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand it well enough to figure that out, to be honest. Let's see. Oh, okay. That's almost something. So we kind of get the idea here. Oh, I see what we need. We're missing the under loop. Oh, I can get that. Hold on.
Are you throwing me a gradients bone right now? Is that what's happening?
Say it again, sorry.
I said, are you throwing me a gradients bone right now? Is that what's happening?
Do you think I don't throw a gradient at everything that I do? Like, this is just who I am. For sure. Hey, let's do something primitive and then let's throw gradients at it. That's like my entire career.
Runes that make it gradients.
Runes but make it future. Yeah, classic shapes given modern treatments. Although I did, you know, that kind of does keep you in, like, keeping yourself in like physical world does limit you in form to what you can pull off. Whereas if you go full digital, you can kind of do some new stuff, which is really more true to what I've tried to do with my work. But whatever, we're not talking about that.
I mean, I'm kind of living for this.
I know we weren't trying to get all specific, but cool.
Renee, do you live?
He's probably eating. He's making eggs and bacon.
Yes, actually, yes. But I'm listening.
No, I mean, but do you like this? Is what I mean.
Let me put some type underneath it.
I like the colors a lot.
It's very BMW in some ways.
Yeah, that's so cute. Let me look at the BMW, Mark. Oh yeah.
That's cool.
I don't know this for sure, but I do wonder. Like, I didn't really mean to go back to the circle. I kind of meant to stay within the square. But here we are. I do wonder about. I suspect maybe we can have the square and the circle. In which case, like, we could still get that preloading language thing. Maybe like the official mark is like a circle one, or like maybe it's just like a subset that we use on merch or whatever.
I mean, I think it's also like there's something to be paid attention to, and the gravitating back always to it.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, that's a very good, very wise. That's the kind of thing I try and do, where it's like, hey, where are we just sort of naturally? What are we naturally talking about? What do kind of people just want to bump up against? But then again, I am sort of controlling everything with my cursor, so like, how much am I actually? I try and be sensitive, but who knows, you know? But yeah, this is sick. This is sickety sick. This is great. It's kind of calming, but it's also kind of like a fuck you a little bit to existing symbologies in a way that you just sort of get for free. It's like, we didn't mean to. If you saw this on a T-shirt, you'd be like, holy shit, I think, to some degree. Especially as a tech company.
I feel like it also, I don't know if you agree, Anna, but it speaks to that issue you brought up of not feeling like enough. Like, it retains simplicity while it also adds like just another, it feels differentiated now.
Okay, I don't know if this is too hard of a skirt, but that's exactly what I was just looking at, Ben, that mark.
Oh, really? That's...
Yeah, I was just looking at that, like, dang, what's up over there?
Yeah, I had meant to sort of pull this out at some point and be like, hey, we kind of got this thing too.
It's kind of fire.
Yeah, it's a little bit nice.
This is giving full car logo to me.
Full car?
What's the car look? Pardon?
Full car?
Full, like.
Oh,
very
car.
much.
Car. Got you.
Car, yeah.
Or
there's another car logo that uses that inner shape. You know? Oh, but it's compass. Oh my god.
Yeah, this got like hypernautical. I wonder if you're thinking of Polestar, who had sick. They're so nice. They were already nice, and then they redid their mark again, and it got even better. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. It's this incredible minimization of the compass, of like the rose compass. Hold on. Come on, where's your goddamn logo?
They're hiding it.
They are hiding it.
Maybe if we just Google Polestar logo.
I know, I'm about to. Let's see if it's on their Instagram. Yeah, here we go. Oh, it's not gonna pull up your image, of course. Bastards.
That's at the top there, isn't it?
I mean, it's here,
Right
but
there,
here, I'll just go like this. There, yeah, yeah.
I love that.
It's very nice.
That's very nice.
And then once you've seen it, because you can look at it a couple ways, either as, you know, like two arrows meeting, and then you can also see it as like there's the other two quadrants of it, of a full shape that are missing. Does like a little brain, it does a little brain massage on me.
With the Instagram gradient around it too, it's like,
Hadn't even really thought of that. Hadn't even. Actually, let's just see it on. I like looking at marks like this because it's kind of like a best in case. It's like, hey, if what we're doing now, if we got really smart and good, it would basically just turn out like this. I don't think that's necessarily what's happening here, but yeah, I mean, to some degree, this gets back to the Zora conversation, where this almost gets down to just like square plus compass shape, or like a specifically shaped interior, and then there would be.
Is the top? Oh, sorry.
What's up?
Is the top left corner meant to not be pointy?
Not really, but I kind of liked it as sort of just as like kind of chunky. But there's really there's no good reason for it other than, you know, what I just said. So I just got rid of it. But
okay,
yeah.
I don't know if I should say this on the live stream, but this is a little bit in the vaginal zone.
Little yonic.
Yeah.
Open the portal.
Enter the veil. Yeah. Well. And. Sorry. Is there a problem, Anna?
No, zero problems.
I bet we'll find all kinds of phallic logos laying around if we turn that lens on.
Are you kidding me?
Jeez. It's a new era. Everything's getting more decentralized, more feminine. It's probably a good thing. We should go full bore. Just like lean into it.
I'm into it. I love it actually, you know, seeing it, I kind of really want it. I like it popping out of the frame.
Yeah, I was gonna try and do it. I was trying to do a thing, and I agree with you. I lost too much. Zonk.
Blink.
I have a habit of like making things worse as we talk about them, just so we can kind of look at the primitive versions of whatever we're looking at, because it's sort of like I can sort of throw style on anything generally.
Yeah. Right.
And it's kind of good to just take that as a given, but yeah, I didn't. Sometimes that goes poorly, and you completely lose the whole point of talking about it. So, one thing about this too that I liked was the color scheme. I liked the, in kind of direct opposition to this. I liked the neutrality of where this was going. I started to explore like grays essentially, and it felt kind of nice as a neutral zone, like a neutral zone that is a little stylish. In retrospect, this looks a little like maybe pharmaceutical or like hospital vibe, but I do like gray, and I do like warm gray, let's say, as like just conceptually, I think it makes sense for Nomad. Like you're not claiming any specific space as much as you're claiming sort of an interstitial state, which, you know, symbolically, color-wise, would probably be gray.
Can we zoom down to where the N, where it's turned into these two and the wording here? I'm like, wow. I love the N. I love the like rectangular instead of square.
This
like background to it.
Yeah. Interesting that you're calling that out.
That is cool.
Can we try another colorway, like next to it? See like like literally just a random other one. Or actually, it won't be random, but
Yeah, one moment, please. So what this is also interesting because when I did this, we hadn't learned the window lesson, and this is actually so what this is the empty space between the two bars of the N vertical stems, and then putting the crossbar that would have been there anyway on top of the empty space. So treating the bar as foreground and then treating the empty space as background. And what we'll be able to do here in a second is to make that background even trippier, or just like more of a focal point, which I hadn't really thought about. And then let me just make this out of one shape for now too. Yeah, it's very interesting that you would because I liked it too. I liked non-square. It's because it is a square. It does fit into a square format nicely, just by virtue of the boundaries that it's hitting. But I did this project like years ago where I got so sick of how squares had between app icons and avatars, perfect squares and perfect circles have essentially dominated identity space for a very long time now. And it's fine, but it's unfortunate. Like when things like business cards or letterheads dominated identity space, there was a lot more room to play with, and so like people's personal marks and such were a lot more expressive. Like you would get like full cartoons or some shit in there, whereas now it's like it has to be tiny, it has to fit into the size of a thumbprint, and it has to fit in a square. It's like, god damn it.
mm-hmm.
So I did a project a while ago where I was like, hey, I'm going to do a whole identity system, and there's not going to be any squares, and the whole thing's not going to have any whatever. It was fun. And so long story short, I got those feelings when I saw this. It was like, oh yeah, this is like nicely I guess you just don't see like rectangles, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. As much like it does kind of, it almost seems like anti-square in some ways. I'm reading too much into it, of course, but I guess that's kind of my job. Did you have any colors in mind, or should I pull from, like, are you thinking like galactic, or are you thinking like
I almost want to see just like
dude,
a colorway that we wouldn't use as our main to try out that sort of Zora like fuck around with the colors, you know what I mean? Like I wonder what it would be like if you could I don't know, I'm just kind of in love with different iterations of color studies in the same form. I don't want to bog us down with that if that's not the vibe, but yeah, kind of obsessed with that.
well, yeah, for good reason. I mean, it's dope. Just like I'm with you, like modularity, and also especially like socially dynamic modularity, let's say, where like it can be used as avatars and shit. Like that's sick. But I think Pranay has sort of alluded to this point, and I guess kind of segues or like ties into what I just said about avatars, where I do wonder, like having an application or like a social app or a consumer app, it kind of makes sense that you would have something that has a lot of diverse options, or even the ability to customize for your own avatar or whatever. Whereas for something like, B2B or platform based, the implication that it's highly variable, and or just even the opportunity to customize, who's going to customize it and for what purpose? I mean, you could have like different divisions of your team have their own, color versions, which is cool. But like
the natural one, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, what's up?
To answer that question, the natural one is that this the compass needle splits two chains, right? So it's two sides of the chain, and the primary color of the chains. I really dig this. I like the vertical rectangle and
interesting. Cool. I guess we've got a fourth guy then. Fourth boy. It's very almost feels Japanese. Like I'm not sure I could say why.
It's elegant and kind of angular, but also retains structure really well. It's wabi sabi to some degree.
Yeah, that might be it actually. The stack of two squares type ratio. I like what you said about two chains. Two chains?
Two lines.
I'd put them on, but I think YouTube would then block the audio when we posted it. Yeah, that's nice. You know what this looks like? Oh man, I think it might take me too long to try and find it. I'm gonna try and find it because it's too good not to. Hold on one second. Oh, I know where it is. There's a series of photographs that you've probably seen. Out of some Japanese architecture architectural setting. Oh, come on, is it not here? And it's a circular window, and it's the same photo taken at during different seasons, and so it's like a perfectly framed shot of this beautiful outdoor scene during winter, summer, and fall, and whatever. Man, I just had this.
Oh, that island?
I'm not sure where island would come in, but then again, I don't know where the shots are from, so. Sorry, getting highly distracted here. I don't think it's gonna be here, but I'm gonna look anyway.
I said something. I don't know if this is what you were talking about, but.
Oh, it's the same idea. It's definitely the same idea. It's just.
Is it through a window pane?
Yeah.
And the one you were talking about?
Yeah. Oh. Let's see if Google Image just kind of comes to the rescue here, and I think it's gonna. All right. In here are mixed the ones that I'm thinking about. So we got this guy. We got fall. Spring. I guess that's probably summer. Oh, here's winter. There we go. Cool. Want to go there.
Looks so pretty.
So nice.
You could like dynamically assign the colors to local weather in different places or something.
Oh, Tracker's left some comments on the Twitch stream.
Gradient makes it less obvious.
Compass needle joining two chains is interesting. The needle is like a bridge, but actually it could be a wormhole gate, reminding me of the kind of concept from before.
Oh, Tracker.
I think out of all of the ones, this is the one that I unexpectedly like the most.
How fun.
I also, for whatever reason, I see like a bird. I get images of like a bird for some reason, like a beak or something that can take flight, which I really like that feeling.
UFO for sure.
Oh God, totally. I had not seen that at all. This is 1000% a saucer coming in for like a
coming in for landing.
Dive bombing, yeah.
But when we split it in two, I found that kind of interesting too, where it did change in nature a bit. Did that, Pranay specifically, since you're the one that's really vibing on this, did it really enter a new level of like, oh yeah, that's nice when we got the two in, or do you feel ambivalent between the two, or with like the two-part thing? How key was that for you, if at all?
What do you mean to like sticking with just two versus having like four?
No,
The
like
gradients,
having
two different gradients.
having two different gradients, top and bottom, like this splitting between
I
two.
like the one on the right because it's like cold to warm. It just feels really good.
Oops. Maybe the compass could spin as the preloader.
I'm having so much fun. I got late to a meet, so I'm gonna leave now.
Oh, I think that was synchronistic right there. I think we're gonna call it.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna
I
call
should
it.
go as well.
Okay. Well, this one about as well as it can go. So, nice work. And thanks for your time. Thanks for your extra time. Glad if we hadn't stuck with it, like I said, I was like, hey, you can leave if you want. But I'm telling you, I'm just a humble channel over here. I'm bringing forward your vision. So I'm glad we got somewhere that we wouldn't have gotten as well. And Anna, thank you for steering us a bit down here.
Yeah, this is super dope. Thank you, Ben.
So
really really fun.
Yeah. We've got Rune, rendered and not. We've got Netscape, gradient. We've got rectangle, triangles, FedEx Boy, and we've got this new one.
But it's really cool. Can we bring that new one up next to the FedEx Boy? Because you are getting that diamond slicing through a box. Do you see how the arrows are, the gradient arrows are a diamond slicing through the N?
Mix of, it's like a FedEx Horizon.
And so the next step is going to be to put this, explore some of these more, get them all into a PDF, and then get it to some more eyeballs. I think is where we landed. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And then I don't think we've talked about whether or not we wanted to see how this went. We don't know if we're going to do this again. So we can't do like a final. How many people are watching? We got 11 people on the stream. And maybe we'll do it again. Maybe we won't. We don't know yet. I think.
Then Rocker says, our tracker says, yes, UFO bird flight makes sense here. It flies into the sky gradient portal, and then animated logo, exclamation point. I think they were feeling the compass.
They like the beanie hat, propeller hat spin. I think that was it.
Yeah, they were into that. Yeah, so let's I don't know. We can chat offline too, but I feel like this is just fun for like slower generating and exploring a bunch of concepts. We also haven't even talked about type yet. Crazy. Yeah, Tracker just asked if there's a website for Nomad. We have the doc site is definitely the best place to find more info about the project. But in terms of like a landing page, we're kind of making one through this same process is a bit of a concept. So we don't actually have like a branded landing page yet because we don't have a brand. So yeah.
You guys have all kinds of stuff up though. It's impressive how well you do without. I love it when I see like entrepreneurs and engineers and such just sort of make do with what they have. Like it's always frustrating when I hear people, like especially clients, because I'm the designer and such, but it's like you have a lot of options here. I don't want to like. You could just launch with exactly what you have right now, and it would be as good, if not better, than most of what's out there. Like and that you guys do that. Like I like it. I like it a lot. You're very much just getting it done.
Mhm.
And slow evolution out in public, I think is kind of the way to do it.
Mhm.
Okay. Well,
Let's-
let's call it. Let's call it.
Yep.
And yeah, thank you. I guess follow Nomad if you want to see how this goes. I'm guessing we'll do this again, but like we can't say.
I think we will. I mean, this was fun.
Pretty good.
That's our Twitter at NomadXYZ.
Nice.
Let's tweet out some of these things. I feel like we got to such a cool place.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
we
put it
didn't-
out there.
We didn't tweet it all. All right, I'll post some stuff then. I'll see if people want to weigh in.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
Thank you,
Thanks
Anna.
so much,
Thanks for
Ren.
setting this up.
All right. Hell yeah. See you soon.
See ya. See y'all later.
Bye.
Okay. Quitting Zoom. Awesome. And about to end stream. We went an hour and 40 minutes. Not bad. Nice to do this again. Thanks everyone for watching. And yeah, watch my Twitter account or Nomad for if and when we do this again. Hopefully soon, maybe even next week.